things about the senior class, and then we'll take some questions on the matchup against Virginia Tech.
Certainly a good group. I've really enjoyed coaching them. You know, when you take over jobs, you're obviously not sure the kind of kids that you have. The best thing I can say about these guys is, you know, they're as unselfish and as committed to the team as just about any group I've coached. I think they've all improved a great deal in the last 2 years. Andre and Tanner have, you know, are kind of emerging into guys that can become go-to guys at this level. And, you know, it's just nice to see Brian and Bobo getting opportunities to play. They really didn't play much, if any, as freshmen and sophomores. Bobo really even as a junior. And they've both been good contributors for our team. Very good leaders for our freshmen. They've shown our freshmen the right way to go about doing things here in terms of how to work and listen and you know, continue to improve and grind. You know, and I know they do have probably have a few shortcomings in terms of some basketball ability and athleticism at times, physical limitations occasionally, but they certainly make up for that and more with the way they approach things and then the quality of people that they are. They're really outstanding group of young men.
Questions?
I think each of them talked about how proud they were of how they handled themselves off the court.
Mm-hmm.
I guess how rare is that now when you get a class of 4 guys that are that good in the classroom?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, you know, and some of it is, you know, the kids at this level are under such microscopes. You know, I often say that, you know, if all of us, media, everybody had been under the microscope that these guys were under going through college, you might have gotten suspended or some things might have happened to you during your college career. But these guys have, you know, they've been more than model citizens. They've been great ambassadors for our university. They're all extremely well liked on campus. I run into people all the time that in the community and on campus that tell me something really nice about our players all the time. And these 4 guys specifically, I mean, Tanner's the guy that gets the most notoriety and you know, for good reason. You know, with his foundation, everything he does, he can make you feel a little bit small from the stand. I mean, all of us are a little bit small, like, are we doing enough as a person in our community? But, you know, Andre is just a quiet guy that goes about his business in a very, you know, professional way. And some of that, he's a military brat. He comes from a family that I'm sure you're expected to do things the right way, and he just does. And, you know, you never have any issues with him. Bobo's just the happy-go-lucky, you know, guy that I think people enjoy being around, but he's also pretty bright, and you know, I think he appreciates the whole part of school and education and everything of that nature probably more than most kids. Obviously, being a foreign student here, you know, he's really gotten involved quite heavily with his major and things, and is getting the most out of his education as well. And then Brian is just one of the, I mean, he comes from a terrific family, and he's one of the most humble kids. He's a guy who cares more about team than anybody. You know, when I've talked about how we put him on the scout team to learn the other team's stuff, and here's a senior who, you know, very few seniors are asked to be on the scout team, and Brian has no issue with that. He gladly does it because he knows it helps our team. He's smart enough that he can learn the stuff that we got to teach him for scout team quickly, and then he can still, you know, remember how we're going to guard it when he has to play on our team in practice. So it's just, you know, there aren't many guys that are that humble and that unselfish, and so it's really a unique group that I think is very special in the way they go about them carrying out their daily business.
Does it say something that 2 of them have their degrees and the other 2, I guess, are pretty close?
Yeah, they're, you know, almost two have them and two are basically, you know, a couple classes away from having them. You know, just speaks to the way they were raised and the how serious they are about being great ambassadors here. They want to do everything well, and you know, it's been fun to get to know those guys. It's been a real joy to have such a solid group of guys around for 2 years. You know, and last year they were just your blue collar, hard working guys that came in and did whatever we asked them to do, and really embraced the changes. This year they've kind of learned to be a little bit more leaders and go-to players and a little more vocal, and it's been a nice 2-year development and you know, great relationship with these guys.
Tech defends the three really well. You guys shot like 12% the first game. Is that something you're really focusing on tomorrow?
Not really. I mean, you know, they do a good job. Some of the time they just don't help on certain things, so they're going to stay with shooters, so that makes it harder to get clean looks at three. You've got to finish some plays in the paint on your own, drives. You got to throw the ball inside some and get some things done. We did not play well in that game up there. And a lot of it had to do, I thought Tech played well. I think Virginia Tech is playing better than their record indicates. Their freshmen are, you know, improving and feeling kind of good about themselves right now. I think you have a great player in Eric Green. I think he's one of the better all-around guards in our league. Both when you look at a guy who impacts the game on both ends, offense and defense, I think he's a little bit like DeMontez that way. Very good player. So, you know, this will be a game where we'll have to play well. We'll need to play better than we played up there to win.
Spoke about that humbleness that Brian has. Does he bring that same energy and activity that you see in the game floor and in practice?
Yeah, he comes every day ready to work, excited. You know, has very few practices where he's not energetic. He's a guy who seems to enjoy practice and playing. And you know, if he's not having a good practice or something in terms of effort and energy and being involved, and you need to ask him, because there might be something wrong. Because he just comes with the right attitude every day, and you know, he's talkative, and we'll miss that. You know, that's something that you almost don't coach. That's something that guys have, and it really lifts the spirits of others. It helps bring guys that are maybe off to a little slow start in practice or having a hard time feeling about getting their engines going that day. Ryan's one of those guys that, you know, he helps get our whole team going. And Tanner's that way too. Tanner and Andre's pretty good that way. Andre's just not as vocal about it, but Tanner and Brian are very vocal about getting everybody going.
Any other questions, guys?
What is it about this series with Virginia Tech that's been made so many close games? I mean, like you said, the one up there in February, and then deciding 9 and 11 since 2005, but decided by 5 points or less.
Oh, I would assume a little bit. They're just, you know, somewhat similar jobs. You know, both are in a little bit rural areas. You know, we probably recruit some of the same players. Have some of the same challenges as at each school within the league. And so I think, you know, my guess is, I haven't been here that long to be a part of it, but my guess is just that's, you know, all those things, those factors combined, that most times you probably have similar talent and you're going to get games that are, you know, pretty close. You know, I don't sense any sort of super rivalry between Virginia Tech and Clemson in terms of basketball, or, you know, nobody's really ever come up to me. I know they've told me that we've had close games with Virginia Tech for a long time, but, you know, actually Seth is one of the guys who's probably early on was probably as nice to me as anybody in terms of welcoming me to the league and all that kind of stuff. So my guess would be that you probably have similar talent bases, and you know, similar challenges and some of the same things, and because of that, you get guys with teams that are, they're very close in ability and leads to close games.